Sacramento Film Works, where we bring to you all things film. I'm Craig DeLuz.
And I'm Amy Henry. Thank you for joining us. We have an exciting show for you today. We're going to be talking about photography and video, so hang in there. We'll be right back.
Sacramento Film Works is sponsored by the Northern California Filmmakers Coalition, which provides filmmakers an opportunity to learn and network with film industry professionals from throughout the Sacramento region. Join us each Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Access Sacramento, 4623 T Street, Suite A, Sacramento, California. We'll see you at the movies. Welcome back. You know, Amy, there's said that some people have an eye for photography and some people have an eye for videography. Rarely do you come across someone who's actually an expert and has an eye for both.
Yeah, we get to meet someone who has, what, two eyes, one for each. This is going to be a good show.
This is going to be a good show. Our industry expert today has been a gentleman who's done photography and videography and has shot events throughout the Sacramento region, throughout the United States, and around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Phil Dismangles.
Thank you. Thank you, Craig.
It is definitely a pleasure to have you here today.
It's an honor to be here.
All right. So tell us, how did you get into photography and videography?
Well, my dad was a photographer for the state of California. He did a lot of textbook photos, actually, that some of these people in the audience may have seen and didn't know. And I actually started in the video part of it in the Cub Scouts. I got on this kids show in Sacramento called Captain Sacto. And I walked in the studio similar to this, and I saw the cables and the lights and everything. I said, Dad, I want to do this when I grow up. So he said, you could do it, son. You just have to study hard. So, of course, I didn't study hard because I got distracted by something else. So, moving on, I ended up taking up music and started playing in bands. So I play the bass. Wow. And I got in a couple of bands around town, and we were playing in Old Sacramento. And I ran to a friend of mine during one of the breaks, and he worked at Channel 10. And I said, man, I wanted to do that when I grew up, and here I am growing up, and I'm not doing it. He says, well, come down and fill out an application. So I said, okay. So I went down there, and this is the coolest part. The guy I interviewed with literally looked at my resume and said, okay, when can you start?
What?
I was blown away. And so I said, I can start right now. He said, no, come back, a couple of days. And from that point, I just started applying myself, learning all the terminology, all the requirements for the job. And I just applied myself. And then a person, this is the best break, a person called in sick, studio guy like in here. And I wanted to do field work. So one of the field guys called in sick. And they knew I was kind of, I had aptitude for that kind of stuff. So they had me go out and check this out. It was the arrival of Jimmy Carter at McClellan Air Force Base. And all I had to do, they said, was just put the camera on him. Don't move it. Don't do anything. Just put the camera on there. And I said, okay. And I did it. And that was my first field assignment.
Wow.
So.
And you're still with Channel 10?
No. I left, I moved on.
Okay.
So I'm working for ABC News in San Francisco now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've been there for like 11 years. And previously I was working for CBS in San Francisco. So it's kind of a stepping stone thing.
Yeah, sure.
But I also do a lot of freelance work for different TV shows around the country, mostly racing. I mean, I've done HBO boxing, lottery show, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I can't even think of all the stuff I've done, so much.
But you market yourself then to get all of that work? How
You know what it is?
that?
It's really word of mouth, not so much marketing. I hooked up with, I was doing Sacramento Kings basketball, camera work there.
Okay.
The producer for the Lakers pulled me to the side and said, hey, I got a guy in LA that needs a cameraman for the Stevie Wonder tour. I'm like, sign me up.
Right.
The next day, the guy called me, and I quit my job the day after that at Channel 10 and went on the road with Stevie for a year and a half doing camera work. So it was fun. And I was operating a remote controlled camera.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of a challenge. But again, I've been a gizmologist my whole life, so.
Had you ever done it before? Oh, what?
I learned right there on the first show.
Wow.
But, you know, my brothers and I, we played with stuff, we took it apart, had extra parts left over. We used to take all of our toys apart, I'm telling you, so that's how we developed skill for stuff like that.
So I got a question for you. So a lot of the stuff you shoot is live. How do you know, I mean, how do you recognize, how do you see a good shot? I imagine you have to see it before it's coming. How do you see that coming, and how do you make sure to take advantage of that?
You have to think. First of all, when you walk into a scene, or when I walk into a scene, I'm thinking the whole time. I'm focused on what I'm doing. I'm not just shooting the breeze with somebody else. I'm actually thinking, okay, if I'm just the only camera there, I've already scouted out visually the whole location, and I'll decide, you know, let's say the governor's inauguration. I'm the only camera for my whole station. And by the way, I'm feeding 5 network stations around the country from my one camera, and I have a satellite truck. So I can't make any mistakes.
No.
And they're not going to tell me what to shoot because the talent, the reporter, whoever I'm working with, is the person listening to the producer. So, you know, you just kind of play it by ear. If he walks out, you're going to go off the reporter, push in and zoom on to the governor, you know, and stay on him and listen to what the reporter's saying. If she's saying, yeah, and over here, okay, well, that's my cue. What is she talking about, or he's talking about?
Yeah.
Zoom back out, pan over. You'll start to see whatever it is they're talking about. Oh, there it is over there. Push in, you know, slowly and smoothly. And I've already done my focus pretty much. You know, from experience, I know about where the focus is going to be. So it's not that difficult.
But a lot of it sounds like you're learning, at least for you, you learned on the job. I mean, when you talked about being with Stevie, and you're having to learn that right then and there.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard. I mean, you know, it really wasn't that hard. I mean, it was one of those things where I just have an aptitude for gadgets. I don't know. It's a gift my parents gave me.
So did they know you hadn't worked on that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, my work had preceded me
Okay.
in working with the Lakers and any NBA stuff, so they trusted me to get it, you know, after a couple tries, you know. I mean, they didn't throw me on a show, okay, do it right now, we're on the air. No,
Right.
it wasn't like that. It was like,
No.
here's the equipment, you know, this does that. And I'm like, okay, oh yeah, okay, I got it, you know. Pretty
Right.
much like that.
Well, speaking of equipment, things have changed because you've been doing this for how many years now?
Long time.
So
Over
you've
30
seen-
years.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of changes over the years. So, you know, talk to our audience and viewers about just how you become flexible with the changes of technology, because we're in an age now where things are quite different.
Yeah, you have to keep up with it. You cannot afford to get behind if you're going to be viable in this business, number one. So you have to at least know about the technology. You don't necessarily have to understand it, because in my world, I may not have to actually use it. But I do need to be conscious of its existence. So like Facebook, I am not a Facebook person. I'm not going to spend the time learning it just because I don't use it. I have a Facebook presence, but it's not on the top of my list.
Right.
But editing, you know, the equipment I work with on a daily basis, I know that inside out. I could do it one eye closed, half asleep.
And probably have.
Totally. And it's just, you know, you develop your skill level according to how much the demand is.
So now I understand that you actually also had a short film that you not only shot, but also directed.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
And I have to give credit to my buddy Mike Garza, who was co-directing with me. And the interesting thing is we wrote out the script and, you know, looked at it. It looked great on paper. And then we go out and start shooting it without rehearsing it with the actors. And then we start hearing the same line 10 times throughout the production. And then you start editing, and it's like, oh man, he said, hey baby, about 15 times. You know, so, but yeah, we entered it in the Sacramento Film Festival. This is in the 90s, and we came in second place. So
Wow.
we were
Well, you know
pretty-
what? We actually have a short clip of that that we're going to go ahead and show here real quick.
Okay.
So let's take a look at it.
Maybe? Okay. What's the rundown? What's going on?
He's sleeping right now.
Does he have the money?
Yeah, he's got the money.
How do you know? Where is it?
I've seen it. It's in his briefcase.
So now tell us about the photography end of what you do.
So interestingly, instead of, I really got into photography by accident because I was going to go to cinematography school to be a movie cinematographer, but you had to know photography. So I started learning photography, and then my dad kicked in again, and he started to give me the fine-tuning part of it. And so pretty soon I'm like, I like this. And I just lost track of being a cinematographer because I was doing TV news every day, so that kind of satisfied that part in me. But the photography part, I just ran with it, man. And I had opportunities to work with people, and I'm trying to think of somebody right now, and I can't. But anyway, it's been fun. My thing is lighting, so that's not a big deal to have a certain type of camera, although I used to believe that. But now for me, it's more lighting and composition than it is the actual camera.
So I just wanted to ask before we move on to something else. So the passion, the desire that you have, it started when you were young, you kind of moved on to other things. Would you recommend then for folks that are listening and watching, you've got to have that burning passion to keep pressing in to this line of business?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to be in front of the camera, definitely. But if you're going to be in back, I'm not going to say you don't need to have it. I'm just going to say that it's a job that can be filled by the people in front of the camera in terms of.
That's true, yeah.
We're expendable behind the camera. In front of the camera, they have one face, and they like that face, and they'll do everything they can to make that face look good and viable. So,
but I would say that's the reason why the people behind the camera are not expendable, because it's the people behind our cameras that make us look good. Or at least I hope we're looking good.
Well, I meant that in a global sense, not in a local, but just globally.
Yeah.
Because I replace guys all the time.
Right, there's a lot of fluidity
That's a good way to put
in it, and boy, you really do have to have that stick-to-itiveness to stick in there, to be repetitive. But yeah, sounds to me like you've got that determination.
Yeah, I do.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have some questions from our audience for Mr. Dismangles. So we'll be right back. To become a part of our live studio audience and to meet and greet film industry professionals, visit our website at www.ncfc.tv.
Well, welcome back. We've got some wonderful questions from our audience for Philip, and so we're going to get started. And your first question, your name, and then your question.
I'm Heather, and I am wondering how many photographers are normally needed in a film production?
That's a good question. It depends on how big the production is. Usually, for the shows I work on, there could be 3 to 15. So it just depends how big the show is, and actually, more importantly, what the budget is. So that's the determining factor.
Thanks so much, Heather. And your question, your name?
Hi, I'm Christina, and I'm wondering, is there any special camera needed for film photography?
No, but the thing is, I like certain types of cameras. I like Nikon cameras for my still photography. And it's not that it can do things that Canon or other brands cannot do. It's just that I'm familiar with it. I've invested into that line of equipment. So in other words, I own a lot of expensive lenses that fit that camera. So in order for me to switch brands, I have to sell all that stuff, take a loss, relearn the ergonomics of that other camera, invest in that just to get to the same spot I'm already at.
Thank you.
So, hope I answered
Well,
the
let's go
question.
on over here. I know you've got a question. What is your name for Phil?
My name is Pamela. I'm sure there have been a lot of challenges that you've faced. So talk about one specific challenge related to film, television, photography, and give us a brief example.
Well, I have to be honest with you. Sometimes you roll up on a situation and doing news, you don't get the respect you'd like to have. And so you have to kind of represent yourself, for lack of a better way of saying it. And it's not the most comfortable situation all the time. There's a lot of assumptions, you know, made when people look at you until they find out who you are. All of a sudden it's all good, you know, once they find out who you are. But other than that, I mean, the challenges are just trying to be in the right place at the right time. That's probably the biggest one.
All right, thanks.
So thick skin.
That's
If you're in
a
this
good
business,
thing to have.
thick skin. And your name, sir?
I'm Lenny, and I was wondering, as a film and television photographer, how much creativity do you have in each shot?
Pretty much a lot. I mean, all of it, because I'm going to, you know, my experience is going to mandate that I get certain shots, but pretty much I'll decide how it's cropped, how it's going to look, and if I don't like it, it will not get used in terms of, well, both of them for that matter, video and film, or excuse me, video and photography. And it's something that, you know, you have to get certain elements to tell the story. And that's something we didn't touch on, is being able to tell a story can be done several different ways. I don't know if any of you have seen a movie where it starts in the middle and then goes to the end and then goes back to the beginning. That's just a different way of telling it. It doesn't have to start in the front and then have a chronological order. You can edit it as long as it makes sense and you get it, or your audience gets it. But I don't do that, but I'm just saying.
And then one last question. Your name, sir?
Hi, my name is Keith Johnson. And so my question goes to this. Authenticity is generally the underline for success in today's films projects. So the cast brings their authenticity through their acting. Now for the crew, they provide that through the cameras of the various gears. In your opinion, what do you think are the quality cameras that could be utilized on a film project to provide that authenticity?
Again, it's not so much the quality, not so much the name of the equipment, it's how it's used. It's kind of like a knife, okay? If you have a Ginsu knife, are you going to be able to cut the fish any better than with a Cutco knife or a butter knife for that matter? It's really in the hands of the artist. The artist is going to determine what the project's going to look like. And an artist can make, you know, you can give a monkey a really expensive camera, or you can give a photographer like me a shoebox with a pinhole in it, and I can put some film in there and I can get a better picture than the monkey. At least I think I can.
So Phil, for folks who either want to follow your career or who are interested in doing, you know, getting a hold of you for photography work or something like that, how do they find you?
My website is desvisionphotography.com. It's a play on my last name. My last name is Dismangles, and I changed the spelling a little bit. It's an S in Dismangles, but it's Desvision, DEZVISION, photography.com. So that's pretty much how I've
Fantastic.
done
Thank
it.
you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Philip Dismangles. Sacramento Film Works is done in partnership with Access Sacramento. It airs on the first Saturday of each month on Comcast Channel 17 and AT&T Uverse Channel 99.
Well, welcome back. Thank you so much for being with us. This is just really a great show, and we get a chance now to highlight a special artist right here in the Sacramento area. I am so excited to introduce to you a person who has done a number of things. He's an actor, he's a writer, and you may not know it, but he is a very well-known voice impressionist. I believe I'm saying that right, impressionist. He does all kinds of commercials and voiceover. His name is, and you want to write it down, Nick Fenske. Welcome to the show, Nick, with me.
Well, thank you.
Nick, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So as I was saying that, you have been in the business, from what I understand, for quite a while. Is it about 20, 25?
25 years, yeah.
Wow.
Since 1990.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Actually, because of my impressions, I went to Columbia School of Broadcasting. And from there, I had an instructor who was on a morning show. And she said, hey, I'm going to take this acting class. Do you want to do that? And I said, okay. And so I did it, and we ended up being extras in Clint Eastwood's The Rookie with him and Charlie Sheen.
Oh, wow. wow.
Yeah, so that was my first experience.
Wow. Okay. And then you wanted to do voices when?
I actually just picked them up with that. I started doing morning radio shows.
Okay.
Anything from Red Fox, I'd be like, they call Red up for some advice, you know. They call Mike Tyson, and I would be, you know, it's crazy with Barbara Walters, and, you know, this, you know, I'd be Bill Clinton too, where I just throw it out there and be casual with these people. But
oh, wait! I know one that I believe you do for the kiddos out there. Elmo.
Everybody love Elmo because he loves. And here is the bad guy. I play a bad guy all the time. Join Elmo. I'm going to knock you off.
That's very good. Now, Star Trek, that's a big thing out nowadays.
Right.
And you do a very special voice in Star Trek. I won't give it away. Let's see if you guys can pick it up.
Well, that would be Admiral James T. Kirk, but if we're talking Star Wars, the big.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
See how I covered for you
You
there?
did.
With
You did.
Going all
Thank
the way
you.
around for it. It could be Master Yoda. It could be.
I love that character. Very good.
He is a dynamo, for sure.
So you were doing a lot of these in the San Francisco Bay Area?
I did the radio stuff in the Bay Area, but when I moved up here, I cold called MTV Animation for Celebrity Deathmatch, which is being brought back, as you all might know, and just cold called, talked to the casting director. She said, "Do you have a tape?" I said, "Yes." Send it. A week later, "Oh my gosh, you're great. We're on hiatus, but can I start sending you sides so you can audition over the phone?" And I did, and I booked my very first one as Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGuire. So that was really interesting, and the guy who ended up producing, and he was the writer and creator of the series, he was snowed in New York, but I was here in Sacramento at Nakamoto Studios.
Oh, yeah.
At the
we
time.
had him on the show.
Yeah,
He's
Ray?
been on our show. Yeah, Ray's awesome.
Ray really helped a lot and helped to moving me in the voiceover stuff. And he had a great crew, and there were certain impressions that I did. When I did my demo, they were like, "Oh no, such and such does this in this Bay Area, or they do this here, so play nice."
Okay.
Because you got all these other voices.
Right.
And then that was the worst thing, was taking voices out because they're like my babies.
Yeah, and see, one of the things we learned, and you and I talked about it, is that doing voiceover work now is a lot easier because of technology than it was. So talk to our audience, our viewers, about, you know, just the ease of it if people do have a desire.
There is a thing called the Blue Yeti. It's USB, you plug it in. It's a great microphone. If you set yourself up with like blankets around you and that will deaden out stuff, you can audition for anything just about and send it out, or you can start your own production company and start making commercials for people. I know, why haven't I done it, you know? I'm good with the creative end, business end I'm not so great at.
Well, not only did you, and are you still doing voiceover work, because you do commercials and a length of things, but then you moved over even more so into acting, and I know you brought a clip for us to see. So before we go into the background of your acting, let's take a look at the clip of Nick acting.
I can't kill kids. Arisala, I want to believe, but I can't kill kids. There are 2 bombs in a dumpster off of Durango. 1970 All-Star Game, 12th inning. Boom! Right into Ray Fosse, separated his shoulder, essentially ending his career in an exhibition game. So throw a game to win a bet? Get the fuck out of here. You have any final words? There's more. And I'll take him to the grave.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Absolutely.
Before we go, though, you've got some stuff that's upcoming on the table, and
I do.
Share with us what you're going to be doing pretty soon.
Okay, in the next month or so, I'm going to be doing a local thing, Relic. Tim Russ is directing it from Star Trek, and got a Mafia web series, Junction City, Trigger, which is another one with Louis Mandylor, Richard Tyson, hopefully they're attached, and I have another one called Delta Bounty with Mamie Jean Calvert from In the Eyes of a Killer,
Right.
Louis Mandylor, and Tony the Tiger Lopez, which we've got in development.
By the way, guys, this is the bad guy of everything that he's in. He's like the bad guy. And I mean, I have to say that I hated your character on In the Eyes of the Killer.
Thank you.
So right,
I take that as a compliment.
Very good.
Thank
You did a good job. So tell us where we can see you if you like to follow your career.
I'm Twitter, YouTube, actor Nick Fenske. Just type in actor Nick Fenske, Vimeo,
Yeah.
Facebook, all of that nonsense.
Nick, thanks
Great.
again for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To keep up to date on Sacramento area film industry news or to view previous episodes of Sacramento Film Works, simply go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/NCFC-TV, or you can connect with our YouTube channel by going to our website at ncfc.tv. Well, that's it for this episode. Sacramento Film Works is a project of the Northern California Filmmakers Coalition in partnership with Access Sacramento. We'd like to thank our spotlight guest, Mr. Nick Fenske, as well as our industry expert, Mr. Philip Dismangles. I'm Craig DeLuz.
And I'm Amy Henry. Thank you so much for being with us. This was very informative, very helpful. We hope you enjoyed the show. So we are Sacramento Film Works, where we show you how film works.